What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and with me today is Cookie, and we are back talking about the Saw series. Finally! There will be spoilers.
Give it a good once-over.
Giving us the once-over.
Giving him the once-over.
Give me a once-over.
Down to give us the once-over.
For a routine once-over.
Once-over.
Oh, just once-over lightly.
It has been way too long. We are here today to talk about Saw 5, which I would like to call the intestine edition. I feel like lots of intestines in this one.
It's pretty intestine-y.
Yeah, I feel like somebody in the art department figured out how to make intestines look really cool, and then they were just like, let's do this for every single death.
Intestines all day, every day.
Amazing. I love it. So I am so excited that we are finally getting back into talking about the Saw movies.
It's been a while.
I have been very, very busy, and I have put Cookie off, and we have not had a chance to talk about any of some of Cookie's favorite movies. So we're finally back, and we are doing it, and I am really, really excited. So what's the first time that you saw Saw 5?
I actually don't know if I saw Saw 5 until like years after the fact when I got like really into the series. Like,
Yeah.
I genuinely fell off after Saw 3. I was like, oh, this is great. And then I kind of went to college and just completely lost track of it. And I'm like, oh, they keep making Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6. Like, they keep making these things.
There's too many.
There's too many of them. And now I'm like, there's not enough.
We need more. We need
Saw
more.
movies, please.
I will say, when I first saw this movie, I was pretty darn excited because I think that the opening sequence where we get introduced to a character named Seth, who is chained down, leg shackles, he got his neck restrained on a table, he's completely helpless. We get to see him in this pit in a pendulum style saw trap, which I think is outstandingly amazing.
OG saw traps.
Yes. So what are your feelings about this initial trap?
Well, I like it. I think it's got all the hallmarks. It's got a Billy, kind of has a Billy.
Yep.
It's, it's got the good tape. It's definitely doable.
You think this is a survivable trap?
I think this is 100% survivable. I think he would have survived if Hoffman wasn't cheating.
Okay.
Spoilers.
I don't know that I think that this is a survivable trap. The reason that I don't know that is because, so the idea is that he has to put his hands into two different things in order to push buttons. His hands will get crushed, but he will survive.
Yes.
However, what does him pushing the buttons do? Does it stop the pendulum?
Well, we don't ever really find out because it's a trick.
So even if he gets stopped, even if the pendulum stops, how does he get out with his hands being crushed?
Well,
He wiggles out?
You wiggle out,
Oh my God.
Your hands are gone, so they come off. The restraint's pretty easy.
I don't know that I agree with that. So one of the things that I do like about the saw trap is that it really is the crux of the entire movie. We learn much more about the saw trap as the film goes on, and I think that is really exciting.
Absolutely.
We don't get that in every single Saw movie. So I love this as a beginning. I love it as an opening sequence. I think it looks really rad. What we learn is that this character, Seth, served 5 years of a life sentence due to a technicality, so he got off on a crime. And Jigsaw makes sure to note that some call it karma, but he calls it justice.
Some call this karma. I call it justice.
Again, kind of goes to show how bad this police department, and specifically this, homicide team is. They couldn't even, it turns out that it was Hoffman's sister who was killed by this guy.
Yep.
Hoffman is the one that set up these traps and is, fake Jigsaw. So that means also that he made a Billy, so that's not official Billy. That's a bootleg Billy.
Bootleg Billy?
That's a Gilly.
Oh my God, I hate it so much. We're not calling him that. You can call him that anywhere but here.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's literally, cops, the whole thing is, the thin blue line are taking care of their own or something. So the fact that they couldn't even get a murder of one of their own's family put in jail forever means that they just suck.
They're really horrible cops. team. Police department is the term that I
Cop
was
team.
looking for there. Yeah, they're horrible. We've decided that the cops in the Saw universe are completely awful. None of them know
Yeah.
what they're doing in any way, shape, or form. And I actually have quite a few issues. The two main cops that we're going to be focusing on in Saw 5 are going to be Strom, FBI agent Strom, and also Detective Hoffman. And I have some issues with them.
And they're both returning from 5.
Yes, from 4.
Yes, sorry.
From 4.
Five.
Yeah, I know. It's too confusing. There's too many things. And boy, oh boy, are we going to reference every single previous Saw movie within Saw 4.
All of the Saw movies reference back to themselves. It's just a matter of if that's good or not.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not the best.
That is a good point.
Sometimes it's Rockstar, woo, Rockstar.
Everything's amazing. Before we get into talking about these two cops, I want to talk a little bit more about this initial death with Seth, because I do think it's amazing. He does not survive this trap.
No.
And it's pretty gory, even for a Saw movie. Again,
Yeah.
this is our first intestines shot of the film.
And I'm watching the extended edition, so it's even more.
Yes. Yeah. How much do you think that they actually add within the extended?
The extended it's always like a cut or two
Yeah.
with the gore stuff, and then like 20 or 30 seconds here or there of like, character stuff. It's nothing too crazy,
Yeah.
but it is always like, I see why they cut this. Like the end, there is substantially more to the ending than there
Ooh,
is.
I can't wait to find out about that. We do have these two cops, like I mentioned. We have Hoffman and we have Strom.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my big criticisms to Saw 5 is that these two guys look exactly the goddamn same, and I cannot tell which one is which ever.
Oh, well, I guess that's kind of fair. The thing with Hoffman is that Hoffman is always wet. Hoffman's always wet, and he's always got these lips. He's wet and he's got these lips. He talks like
Yeah, but Strom
I feel
kind of
bad.
talks like that in this
Well,
one too, because he gives himself a tracheotomy.
Strom sounds ridiculous in this movie
Jigsaw's dead. How many lives did I inevitably save?
through the entirety of the time, and we'll get through it. But I think that kind of adds to my enjoyment. But just real quick on Strom and Hoffman, I kind of talked about in our first video how Adam and Larry were like very big gay ship characters.
Yes.
And I had mentioned that there was another pair in the series that was very popular, and it's these two.
Explain more, because I don't see it.
I mean, I can kind of see it. There's the cat-mouse aspect of, one chasing the other. They're similar, and they've got, backstory. They're both cops and stuff like that. I mean, I don't see it, but I can kind of see how you can see it.
I think it's a little bit of a jump. I think that
There's not a lot of people, so they just ship whoever they can, I guess.
to me, they're less foils, and they're more just the same guy who have just gone down different paths.
Well, that would be very interesting, but they don't. No, that's really.
All right. Well, listen. I don't know. I'm not the Saw expert over here. So their relationship in this movie is interesting. I think that your description of calling it a cat and mouse game is exactly correct. That is what we get to see, and that is what a lot of the focus of this film is, because basically we watch the two of them as Strom becomes suspicious of Hoffman being a part of the Jigsaw murders. And then in addition to that, we also get to see a new group of people stuck in a cellar type thing, sewers, I don't know what they are exactly, as they navigate through traps.
They got access to a lot of these just big facilities.
Yeah.
It's probably the same building that Saw 2 and 3 happened inside of.
Yeah.
Just the other side of every single thing.
It's actually quite impressive. There's a lot of resources going into
Yeah, because
this.
you go into the Saw 2 house and then you can climb down a thing into the Saw 1 bathroom, and then it turns out that there's all of these down there corridors that go on
brings
for
us
miles,
to 3 and 4.
it's all one big Jigsaw's Funland building.
I'm in. I want to go hang out there.
Oh, one thing about Strom. If you want to see somebody flipping through files, this is the movie for you. Files on files on files. Flipping. Strom goes through every file in the entire building. It's not very exciting.
But it happens.
But it happens.
Do you know what my least favorite part about that is? At one point, again, he's very suspicious that Hoffman is involved in the Jigsaw killings. And so he goes to pull files off of a shelf, and he looks at it, and he goes, yes, 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 yes. And then he goes, okay, now I gotta find the file associated with that. And then he goes to the next thing over and goes, here it is, perfect. I was like, that's not how evidence rooms work.
Well, you know,
What kind of organized?
This is a very shitty police department,
No.
so it's possible that
If Vampire's Kiss taught us anything, files get lost all the time. A, B, C, D.
E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S,
No, I did not like it. It upset me a lot.
T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
I was
Okay.
really, really annoyed by that.
That's fair.
I'm glad that you mentioned the files because, god damn it, that annoyed me so much.
I never misspelled anything. Not once, not one time.
So Strom actually does end up getting a tape. So he ends up.
Well,
being-
it goes into that Seth trap, and then we go back into 3. So he shoots Jeff again, which they got Jeff back in. That's not reused footage because he's a little heavier and a little less beard.
Yep.
Which, hey, you know, happens to all of us. Well, maybe not all of us, but but yeah, it goes right into Strom. Jigsaw's dead body's right there. He finds a tape. The tape is like, hey, just chill, stay here, nothing bad will happen. This room could either be your grave or your sanctuary or something like that.
Yeah.
For this room can either be your sanctuary, or it can be your grave.
But it's like, well, that's kind of what the tape in 4 said with Rig. But it's like, okay, so what if he had stayed in that room? Would it have closed in on him and crushed him and Jigsaw as well? Or like...
You know, the tape also asks him, like, are you going to pursue your curiosity? Basically, don't look into things. It's kind of insinuating, don't look into things, just be done. And I never really enjoy when Jigsaw is prompting people to do nothing in order to save their own lives. I think that there needs to be an action that needs to be taken. Again, what we got with Seth in the beginning of 5 is he needed to crush his own hands. He needed to hold buttons down in order to save the rest of his life. I do think that an action needs to happen, and we don't really get that with Strom's tape, or at least I didn't feel like we did.
No, I think that's totally fair. I do like that after the tape, he tells Jigsaw, fuck you, and goes out, which I think is kind of like Strom's manifesto through this entire movie.
Yeah.
No, fuck you, man, I'm gonna do it. Or, hey, fuck you, man, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do.
That's more accurate.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you and your whole crooked department.
That is more accurate. So he does end up, after he gets this tape, he gets attacked by a pig mask character.
He gets attacked by a pig mask. I haven't seen a pig mask in a while.
Yep.
And it actually is like, I think one of my favorite shots in the franchise when he first wakes up, and it's just his head in this glass box with the light inside the box, and just everything's black. This like Brechtian kind of theater experience of just blackness all around him. And then it comes up, and you get your classic Saw green and rust and all of that, and the camera and all of that. But just that initial shot is just like so eerie. It's like something that you don't really get in this franchise a lot. It's like just the focusing on these like small elements. It quickly kind of goes into that so often that you don't have those like.
We get a lot less in this one. Also, no new metal. We don't get game over in the end.
Well, I did.
Oh, maybe.
Did you not?
I don't think I have a game over in the end of the version that I watched.
You didn't get his. Oh, game over. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Zepp's theme. The music.
The actual
an actual
words.
game over. Yeah, I don't think anyone says game over and slams the door on this one.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because it's not the game. It's not game over.
It's not game over. We know there's going to be a 6. I actually had a couple of issues with Strom's saw trap, and the reason that I had issues with it, I agree with you. It's a very beautiful shot. However, I'm tired of the dang glass boxes, and in this movie, as we get a lot of intestines, we also get a lot of glass boxes.
Well, one of the glass box at the end, I'm going to give a pass to, because that one was actually in a previous movie. If you remember when Jill went to visit John in his warehouse, I want to say it was in 4.
Yeah.
like he was building that box.
Yeah.
Which means he was building that box from before, like Hoffman and before Amanda and before like.
And what about the 5 glass boxes in the other trap? There's just a lot of glass boxes.
There's a lot of glass boxes.
Jigsaw is a great glass worker.
This is kind of where like I've been making a spreadsheet of all the traps and everything and who designed them, and at this point it turns all into who designed it? Hoffman?
Question mark? Yeah.
It's like maybe it's not. So it could be that like Hoffman just loves the glass boxes.
Yeah.
Like that's his thing.
Yeah.
He just can't get enough. Like John loves rusty razor blades, you know?
Yeah.
Amanda loves kind of things. He just loves the glass boxes. He
loves glass boxes.
He loves glass boxes. He loves it.
I mean, that does kind of make sense, actually, with how he ends up escaping in the end of this movie, which, of course, we will get into. So what ends up happening with Strom in his glass box is that there is water that is getting released into it from this, like, big, thick hose.
It's 2 thick hoses,
Yes.
like on either side of his face.
On either side of his face. However, did you notice how slow that water is trickling out of those hoses? Because I was like, well, if I understand that we're trying to give him time in order to solve the puzzle.
I also think he just safety and SAG law rules and OSHA compliant. Like I agree, but I don't want him to drown this poor man to make a Saw movie.
And he actually, I read that he was actually very nervous to do this particular stunt. Originally, he was going to have a stunt performer do it because he was concerned when they had done like a test run of the fill it with water, it did not go so well. And he had seen that, but he did end up deciding to do it himself, which is very ballsy.
James Cameron almost killed Ed Harris that way.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
it
can happen.
You think Dave Hackle's going to save your life?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, very good point. A very good point. I don't know. It doesn't entirely make sense to me, but he saves himself in, I think, one of the most epic ways possible, which is that he takes a pen and shoves it. He gives himself a tracheotomy, shoves it right into his throat. And he does it with almost no hesitation. And it is rare that we see characters not hesitate. Like almost all the time, characters are like, should I crush my hands? Should I not crush my hands? No, Strom is like, this is the only way I'm going to live, and I am in for it, and I want to live.
Yeah, and I think this is also just like the opening Seth's trap. I think it's another one where you're not supposed to win, like where Hoffman has rigged it, because we kind of find out afterwards, you know, Hoffman brings out the little girl, Jeff's daughter. There's a lot of elements floating around the last few movies. He brings out Jeff's daughter. He's like, no, I'm the only survivor. And then it's like a comedy thing. It's like, we got another survivor! Got a live one! And they roll out Strom, and I don't know if he's still got the pen in his throat, but
it is a little bit silly. And the result of this, of course, is that Hoffman gets heralded as just figuring out the Jigsaw case and solving it.
Hero.
And he's a total hero. He gets a promotion at work in the best cop department of all the land. He's doing great.
So there is an award ceremony where he gives like a little phony speech about truth and justice and everything. And then you know it's all bullshit because he's all jigsawing people. But it has one of my favorite things in all of moviedom in it, in that it has all of the dead cops from the previous Saw movies. It has pictures of them in their cop uniforms, which means all of those actors got a paycheck for that.
You love that so much.
I love that so much. I don't want to be an actor. I don't want to be in movies, but I do want my picture in a sequel and get paycheck for it. Like, I don't know. Every time it happens in a movie, I get so stoked.
I want that
just
to
get
happen
so
in your life.
stoked.
One day. I have high hopes for you.
Hoffman goes to the hospital to visit Strom and presumably Perez.
Yes.
Hoffman comes in the room. Strom is distraught, sitting next to the bed, you know, head in hands. Perez is no longer in the bed, but in the bed is a blood-covered pillow and blanket, which means the Saw City Hospital is run just as badly
as the
cop department, because, like, how did that... And then it's like, okay, and then he's like, hey, I have to go sit in this room, and it's like, sir, I'm sorry, that's a biohazard. We need to close this. Yeah. It's ludicrous. And then he starts talking with his tracheotomy voice, and it's just ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
He sounds so stupid.
On a gurney with a fucking hole in my throat.
He sounds so stupid. And they had to ADR it because they couldn't get him to do.
I didn't even notice that ever, but it totally makes sense.
I mean, Jesus Christ. It's so awful. It's completely absurd. We do get a little flashback, though, here to Agent Perez, her death with the jigsaw face exploding thing, which is in 3?
That's in 3.
3.
Yeah, and he's whispering like, "Open the door." That's when Romantic Billy with all the
candles.
with all the candles.
It's very beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So we do get a little bit of a flashback to that. And again, there are many ways that I think that 5 is kind of a fan piece where it is saying, let's talk about all these things that happened in the previous movies.
I think 5. Okay, I'm getting in a little fan casty here because if you remember, we watched that director's video in 4.
Yep.
There were parts of 4 that they were filming that end up in 5.
Yes.
Now I think that it was all it all got messed up in 4, and 5 is an attempt to get everything back on track.
Yeah.
Let's cover all of these tracks. Let's figure out all of these loose threads. Let's string them all together. Let's try and get this as back on track as possible. Which I think they do. I think they get it as on track as possible with Jigsaw and Amanda dead.
I think
unless they invented a time machine and went back in time and changed the ending of 3, there is no better way of getting the series back on track than what they do in this movie.
I do think that they get things a little bit more on track, but I also think that in this movie in particular, there are so many characters. We're trying to connect all of these dots that it gets a little convoluted. So even though I do agree with you that if I am paying attention to the Saw lore, like somebody like you does, who really cares about these movies, I agree that this makes more sense. However, you have to really actively watch this movie in order to understand anything that's happening because there's just so much. Yeah. We're not just seeing death after death. We're getting the backstory. We're getting the backfill. We're getting the plot points. We're getting... Don't forget about, this character, and then here's Erickson, and then here's this person, and then here's this person. And I think that as a result of that, we actually lose a little bit of the main Saw trap that follows us throughout the entire film, which is this group of people who are in this, again, I guess, sewer kind of system.
It's
a struggle. These
characters,
we have 5 characters stuck down here. And we find out that each one of the characters is somebody who has advantages. They were born with some sort of advantages.
Not necessarily money, something that they, intelligence or, that sort of thing.
And I struggle a lot with this, even though there's a lot of really cool excitement that is happening down there. I think that the traps are cool. It is a little bit of a challenge because I don't ever really feel like I get close to any of these characters. They don't call each other by their names very frequently. It took me a long time to actually figure out which character was named which thing because we really don't talk about them in any way, shape, or form. And I want to know if we're going to follow around characters that are going to be destroyed by these Saw traps throughout an entire Saw movie. I want to know them a little bit more. I want to feel for them. I want to feel like either they deserve it or they deserve the second chance. And I never got that feeling with any of these characters.
I kind of disagree there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've seen as a big criticism of this movie that I kind of agree with is that the central Saw trap doesn't really have anything to do with the plot of the movie.
Yes.
And I actually think that's a good thing. I think that they've bent over backwards especially 4 to make the plot of the movie and the Saw trap like just one and the same.
Yeah.
And I think by making it this kind of disjointed, maybe superfluous thing, it allows them to have the Saw traps kind of meditate and reflect on those like Jigsaw philosophies, I guess, for lack of a better term, and work out all of the plot stuff without having to be like, the trust fund baby is Hoffman's son the whole time, So like there are 5 characters I've watched this movie tons of times. I can never remember any of their names. Even like I have a huge crush on the main woman. I couldn't tell you her fucking name.
That's Britt.
Like Britt.
The brunette, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is she wearing a wig?
You love wigs.
I think she might be wearing a wig, and then I went and looked it up, and then somebody online was saying Jill is wearing a wig. And then I was looking at her the whole movie, and I don't think she is. So now I'm like, who is everyone wearing a wig all the time? And I'm bald, so I just don't understand wig hair anymore.
I don't understand how hair works.
How does hair work anymore? I don't know.
I will say, Britt does look the most like Amanda, so I'm not surprised to hear that you were crushing on her.
Well,
a
she
bit.
has the coolest moments. Like,
Yes.
the thing that I love about this Saw trap. So, okay, they all wake up. They're in these, like, neck things, which, ooh, surprise. They've got these, like, it's like kind of like dog leads on them that, like, they can kind of get away from the wall, and then these, like, razor blades behind them. The idea is that they're all locked in there, and it says, the Saw trap basically, or the tape, excuse me, says basically, you know, you've been selfish your whole life, looking out for numero uno. I don't think he says numero uno. I wish he did. You've been looking out for numero uno. But basically, was it your whole life has been telling you to act one way? I'm imploring you to
go against your instincts.
Ignore your instincts and go the other way.
Yes.
So the whole thing with this one is, if you pull your lead tight to try and get to these glass boxes that have a key on there to unlock your collar, it's going to pull it tight for everybody, and then at the end of the timer, it's going to pull taut, and whoever's not unlocked has to go. So they talk about it a little bit. So why I love this Central game so much is that, A, they know who Jigsaw is.
Yep.
No, it's not Jigsaw. He's dead.
Like, I don't think anyone, like, Amanda 2, kinda?
Yeah.
She doesn't count.
Yeah.
But, like, they know who he is. They actually know he's dead, which means that, like, this is, like, top news every day, which obviously it would be. Like, you know, the Saw City Herald would be like, Jigsaw strikes again! And B, that they're able to, like, kind of meta themselves out, like, in a way that other Saw people hadn't. Like, they're like...
They have an advantage by having knowledge of the outside world.
Yeah, and they are given time to actually do teamwork.
Yes.
Like, they're, you know, after they get out of that trap, which, you know, they all get their keys and everything like that, and this one woman just does not, this blonde woman, who's
Ashley.
Ashley. Who was a fire inspector, I think?
Yes, she was a fire inspector. So we do learn that she was a fire inspector. That's the only thing that we learn about her before all of the rest of the 4 people get their keys. She does not get hers in time, and so she gets yanked back. And it's a super clean decapitation. I actually think it's a really cool effect.
I wish it wasn't CG.
It's very fast.
I wish it wasn't as CG as it is,
I do too.
It's alright.
It's fun.
As far as like a quick effect.
It was a super quick, and it gave us the idea, again, it sits you on the edge of your seat, because now you know that there is an imminent threat to these people. Mm-hmm. So now they've gone through one room, and they have lost one person. So as they move on to the next room, they now only have 4.
Well, and they have to close the door to start the next trap.
Yes.
So they are able to take some time and talk to each other and figure it out. They know that they're all there for one reason, or they're all there for a reason, and that they're all connected in some way. And it's kind of like Saw 2, except they're not all dying from a bleed from every orifice disease, so they can actually think and, like, articulate a little better.
Yes, and your favorite character, Britt, does actually take this opportunity before she leaves the room to think a little bit, because what she does is she grabs all of the rest of the keys that they used in order to unlock their neck braces.
Yes.
She grabs all of those keys, thinking to herself, these might come in handy in the future.
Yeah, one of the other characters says, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Being smart."
Being smart.
I love you and your wig.
So the characters, I always call them. Okay, so there's a bit of a thing I need to explain before I can get into that.
Yeah.
It's a very important paratext to me, which is when a piece of media comes out, maybe an important review or something that helped it become popular, it could be considered paratext. So when I watched Saw 5 years ago on, I believe, the Stars channel, I watch everything with subtitles on it. At one point, one of the characters calls another a tweaker. a tweaker.
It's a game, tweaker.
The Stars channel, now I don't know if this was a bug or something, it called him a twinker.
Oh, that's quite different.
And I cannot...
It's very different.
And I cannot call that man anything but the twinker. So we have the reporter, the twinker, real estate lady, and corrupt city planner.
That's what we have. So I believe that their real names, I believe that...
Yeah, here you go.
So Charles is the investigative reporter. I already mentioned Ashley is the fire inspector. We have Britt, who is the real estate lady.
Wig.
We have, I think it's Lupa or Lu it starts with an L. I can't remember her name now. But she is the the city planner.
Yeah,
city
her
planner.
dad is super rich and
Yep.
owns a football team.
Yes. And then the twinker, whatever we're going to call him, that is Malik.
His name's Malik? That white-ass dude's name's Malik?
I'm so glad that you said something about that because I literally was like, what the fuck is happening when I looked up all their
Malik?
names?
Oh, no, it's Malik. Malik.
How is that different than Malik? It's different. What's Malik? Malik also doesn't look like a Malik.
Okay, but that
either.
could be a last name.
Malik? Why would they all be referred to as their first names except for him?
Fair. Okay.
It's a dumb name.
Yeah.
I thought that Malik was Charles, which is the bald guy, and that Charles was Malik. Their names are wrong.
Those would fit them better. Although he's a trust fund baby, that sounds like what a rich douchebag would give their kid.
I don't
That kind of sounds like a shit.
I don't know. I don't know. So the disadvantage, of course, if they don't make it through these rooms is that there are these like little glass jars full of shrapnel that are going to bomb explode them. But they do make it out of this first room
It's a nail
again.
bomb, the woman says before the fire inspector before she gets her head chopped off.
Yeah.
So the one thing she contributed is knowing what nail bombs is.
Poor Ashley.
And a little bit of a kind of an Adam thing where Charles actually knows about the other characters and
Because he's an investigative reporter.
for the Herald.
They're very fancy.
Well, it's like Malik calls it a rag, and then Charles is like, "Watch your fucking mouth."
Yeah.
It's like, which is it? It's like, well,
I don't even know.
Well, it's like he's rich, so maybe they ran bad stuff about his family, and now he's like, oh,
You're thinking about this too
the
much.
liberal New York Times, you know. Oh, I'm thinking about Saw 5 too much in our Saw 5 discussion video.
Okay, touche. So, all right, let's continue talking about the traps that they go into. Even though, again, as with all Saw movies, what we get during this time is we get kind of like the meanwhile cuts. So we get to see these 5 characters, or now 4 characters, advancing through different rooms, while we're also learning more and more about the relationship between Strom and Hoffman and what is going on with Jigsaw. But let's continue on to the second room that they go into.
Saw trap, Strom going through files. Saw trap, Strom going through files.
Intestines. Yes, it's a Saw movie through and through. Mm-hmm. So in the second room that they get into, do you want to describe that for everybody?
Yeah, I always call this the glass jar room because I can't think of a better name for it. So it's kind of like mix of like a kid's game in a weird way. So they're in there, they kind of look around, they talk about a little bit, and they try and figure it out, and then they're like, fuck it, close the door. There's these like glass jars up on the roof, and then there's like these 4 like holes in the wall that have been gated and like locked.
Yes.
And the idea is that they have to use the stick. I guess they have to use the stick. There's no explanation of where the stick came from. I guess it was just leaning in a corner. Charles was like, ooh, I'll use this stick. Well, actually, Malik's the first one that just starts going for it because he's still high at this point, I think. I think the idea with this movie is that they caught him as he had just done drugs, and he's like coming down. He's high in the first bit, and then he's coming down, and then is like.
I did not see any character development in him.
I'm not saying it's development. I'm just saying I think it's a little bit of performance. I think I'm not saying I might not be exaggerating a little bit, but I think that's the idea. Is he's like crazy with it at the beginning, and then he kind of gets a little down, and then he starts coming up again. So I don't know, maybe, but yeah, they start smashing the jars. And
inside each of the jars is a key, and that was why I loved your description of this being like a children's game, because each one of the keys has a shape on it, and it matches to these little safety chambers that are currently gated off.
Fuck, it's blank. I need a shape.
yeah.
And you're totally right. I'm just imagining, have you seen the like little stupid TikTok video of the person being like, and then the square goes in the circle.
The square goes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, we've also got this semicircle right here. Do you see a slot that would fit
The semicircle.
Semicircle?
The semicircle.
That's right. It's the square hole.
In the circle.
That's what I'm imagining right now. And that's basically a saw trap in and of itself, is that kind of emotion. So they are smashing these jars in order to get these keys, and each one of them needs to get into one of these safety chambers.
And there's a bunch of blank ones too.
Yes.
Like that just don't actually open anything.
Yes.
There's a lot of shots of like glass hitting people, but I mean it's a movie, so whatever. But like, that's bad. That's bad. Glass falling right on your face, like that's bad. That's gonna hurt you.
There's not a lot of the glass. Everything's obsessed with glass in this movie. This is the glass cut, actually. Screw my intestine
Hoffman
idea.
loves glass.
Glass.
He's all about transparency. That.
Oh my. Fuck you. Fuck you so much. So the first thing that I thought of in this scene, and we later do address this, but I was completely baffled by this because these safety chambers are relatively large. They can clearly fit multiple people in them. But for some reason, this group of idiots is like, oh, only one person per chamber.
Well, it does, to be fair, it does say that in the tape, that there are 4 things and 4 chambers, and can you all... Like, it doesn't specifically say you all need to be in one chamber, but, like, I could understand their reading of that.
They also, and they're under a time crunch.
They don't have the fire inspector. I bet if the fire inspector was there, it's like, hey, we could all get inside this one and we'll be fine. I actually think that. I think they could have all gotten inside one.
I do too. They were huge. They were huge. I just don't understand why they didn't. Like, that would have been my first thought, was everybody pile in. Like,
look, once glass starts shattering and hitting you, like, you don't start, you stop thinking.
All right. But we do get in this sequence, before they all get their keys, this is the first time that they kind of start turning on each other.
Yeah.
So we do get to see Charles attacking Malik.
Yeah.
And we talk about survival of the fittest. So Charles is basically saying, nope, I am going to be able to get into my chamber, because, again, they all think they need to be in their individual ones.
Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting to me, at least.
At that point, I think it made a lot of sense for him to get rid of that guy. If you watch a lot of, like, Survivor or, like, Big Brother or stuff like that, there's a lot of that, like, well, I need to...
Who's useless?
Who's useless? Who is dragging me down? Who is, like, questioning me on literally everything? Who insulted my beautiful paper, the Herald?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's like, get rid of this guy, survival of the fittest, one less guy dragging us down. Once again, ignoring the tape that said, please ignore what your brain is telling you to do.
Yeah.
So they're like, what are you doing? He's like, survival of the fittest. And the 2 women decide to turn on Charles and kill him.
Yes. So Luba actually, she ends up getting maybe one of my favorite lines in the movie. Not that it's the best line of all time, but she goes, survival of the fittest, my ass. And I was like, all right, baby girl. So she ends up smashing Charles over the head. Charles ends up being the only one who's not in a chamber at the time that the timer goes off.
He has this, like, wait moment. Like, what are you going to wait for? What? What do you think? What, did you just solve it all in the last minute before you broke it? Wait, I just realized friendship is magic.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? So one thing I do want to say, I watched this yesterday. I rewatched this yesterday to take notes on everything.
Yeah.
And then later in the day, I ended up watching Phantom of the Megaplex, which is a Disney Channel original movie. I got to watch 100 horror movies this month. I'm watching everything.
Yeah.
Charles is actually in that movie as a director whose movie is premiering that night. And he has this moment where he's like introducing his movie, and he goes, "Let the mayhem begin," and I was like, "That's pretty good."
There you go, buddy.
That's pretty good.
I love that. I love that so much. We do also get to see the exploded Charles, which again, all the intestines. This is intestines in glass, intestines in glass. I love the shot of exploded Charles when they all get to see him. They're all like holding their noses. It's disgusting. It's absolutely horrible. But the remaining 3 characters do get to move on to yet another room.
There's also another like great moment with Britt there.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, what'd you want me to do? Who'd you want me to kill? And she has this kind of like look where she looks at Malik and has that like,
maybe this one.
Charles seemed smart.
Yeah. That is a lot of assessment to have to make in order to figure out how you're going to survive. Is who do I need in order to be able to continue living?
Well, to be fair, the guy going, "Oh, I can't fucking do it," in the first room, that's usually
Probably
the guy you
the
want to
guy.
get rid of first.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The twinker.
The twinker.
Goddamn twinker.
Who ends up being the most moral of them all, weirdly enough.
Well, he's off the drugs at that point.
I'm telling you. He's got a clear mind. Clear mind, clear conscience.
God damn it all.
I'm telling you, I know these things.
Damn it. God damn it all. So in the next room, we get a bathtub in the middle of the room. Now, this bathtub, I think, is very reminiscent of, what is it, 2? God damn it. There's bathtubs in almost all the other movies. Do we have a bathtub in all the other movies?
Well,
because there's a bathtub in
Adam wakes up in
the bathroom scene, and then we get flashbacks to it.
Yeah.
I think maybe 2 is the only one that doesn't have a bathtub.
Well, 2 they go in the gay bathroom where the bathtub is.
All right. Bathtubs. Bathtubs.
It's all about bathtubs.
I do love a good bath.
And it's in the middle of the room, like a weird medical commercial.
It is very, very staged, like all of the other Saw tracks.
Well, it's like you could maybe say that like the bathroom was like that. Yeah. Like me. Well, I mean, somebody drew that heart.
Yeah. Somebody had to have. So what they have is they have 5 different electrical cords that all lead to the bathwater, and they need to connect them into the bathwater in order to unlock the door.
But they don't reach.
So what they decide is they need to put a human in there, and they need to use a body to connect the electricity. Now, what they end up deciding to do is they end up trying to get one of them in there.
Yeah, what's her name? She's just like, "Man, get in that fucking tub."
Yep.
You get in that tub.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't want to get in the tub."
Luba is trying to force him into the tub, but instead, Britt ends up actually stabbing Luba in the neck. And the reason for this is because, again, Britt says, well, I would rather move on to the next room with Malik than I would with Luba. I don't trust Luba.
Trust her. Yeah,
I don't trust Luba.
Very Survivor, reality show voting.
Yeah. So they end up, because Luba is, I don't even know if she's dead at that point. She's certainly dead by the end of this room.
It's close enough to dead.
Yeah, it's close enough to dead. So they put her in the bathtub, and they end up using her body to connect these different, they're kind of like jumper cables.
Yeah, some are jumper cables. It seems like the idea is that it gets harder as you go. So the first few would be, the clamps you put on hands or whatever. Then you gotta stab spikes in. And the final one is a hook.
Yep.
You gotta hook.
Yeah. And Malik gets the honor of doing that one.
And that, as it's going, it, unlocks. It's like moving the lock on the door, and then it kind of pops up. So I think, okay, so I've kind of gamed this before, Saw 3. What would have happened if the Ice Woman had survived through all of this?
Yes.
What would this room have looked like if they'd all survived? Would they all have just, stabbed themselves a little, and then it would have been oh, you made it, you're good. Which, I guess that's kind of the idea. I guess theoretically they would have been easier as you went.
Yeah.
Because you had more people.
We do, of course, at the end of the movie, find out that all of them could have survived every single room. And we'll get into talking about the last room that they go into where they kind of make this discovery. But you're exactly right. So the way that they all could have survived this room is that if all 5 of them were there, each one of them could have stepped into the bathtub, held onto one of the clamps, and they could have all experienced a small electrical current as opposed to one big gigantic one. So they could have all taken on, as teamwork, the brunt of the be death.
Although Hoffman's not as good of an engineer as
Might
John,
not.
so I'm wondering if maybe he messed up the amperage and he just like killed them all in one go.
Whoopsie doodle. I did find the bathtub sequence to be a little bit anticlimactic. So Luba just kind of ends up shaking in the tub. It was a little
the big twist is who is gonna do it.
Yes.
The stabbing them is a lot less after she's been stabbed in the neck and is just basically dead.
Yeah.
If not literally dead, then it's essentially dead at that point.
Yeah. No, you're totally right.
So it was more that idea of like, okay, what's going to happen? Who is going to be that? Who's going to make it through that? And then, the actual trap of it is more for the ickiness effect, which I didn't really get much out of this one.
Yeah, I didn't get anything out of it.
But it's like, I don't know,
fine.
it's cool visual. It's very like Frankenstein, very mad science kind of, not that Saw has any of that, but I don't know.
It wasn't my favorite.
It's not the best trap. No.
Not my favorite at all. Before we get into the final trap that these now two experience, so all that's left now are Britt and Malik, and they will move on to a final trap. But before we get into that, let's talk all about what has been happening with Hoffman and Strom and several other characters, because we got to throw everybody into this one. So let's go hop back in time here to what all is going on with those guys.
So Strom has a boss named Erickson, and literally the only note I have on Erickson is such a weenie, and I don't actually know what that's specifically in regards to.
Yeah.
But it could be in regards to literally anything in there.
Erickson has no personality whatsoever. So again, I find Hoffman and Strom very hard to keep track of in my brain. I find them to be too similar. Yeah. Erickson at least is different, but he's such a nothing that it doesn't even matter that he's different. Like, he could be a nobody character, and I would not.
He could be
I care zero about
He could be a voice on the other side of the phone we don't hear.
Yeah.
He could be. What?
Yeah.
You're taking me off the case?
Yeah. That's.
Yeah. And he would have been just as effective. I mean, well, maybe. He kind of has a moment at the end that's.
No, you're wrong. He's useless.
You're right. No, you could have done like a John Wick 2 thing and just shown like a paper being printed or something. Yeah. No, you're right.
It's completely useless.
I was trying to ride or die for Erickson, but no, I can't.
So Strom is becoming more and more suspicious of Hoffman. He's still upset about Perez's death.
Yeah.
And he is going full on in investigating Hoffman at this point.
He's gone rogue.
Yes.
Because Erickson's fired. He's not fired him. He's like on like
sabbatical.
Medical leave or something like that. He's telling him to go fishing or something like that. It's like, my partner was just killed by like a serial killer's doll. What are you talking about?
My partner was just killed by a serial killer doll. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a bad Christian Bale Batman. Like, like there's the funny ones, and then there's good ones, and then there's people that do bad ones. Like, that's what he's doing. So it turns out that Seth from the first trap had killed Hoffman's sister way back in the day. The timeline is a little bit, but seemingly before any of this, because he had spent 5 years in prison. It was supposed to be a life sentence, but he got off on some technicality because his police department sucks. And Hoffman got him, put him in a saw trap, made a fake Billy, did everything. He just made it so that he couldn't get out of the saw trap. Yeah. Basically, he had won, but he still died.
You killed him and made it look like Jigsaw did.
That's exactly right. Yeah, he's basically, at this point, he is a copycat killer.
Yes, and Strom is figuring all of this out, which means that now we get the two foils of each other. Now they are officially battling back and forth.
Yeah, they're both wearing... Strom's wearing his leather jacket now. He's so cool. Oh
my god. So silly.
My partner Perez is dead.
I hate it so much. It's so bad. Cookie, why?
It's so bad, but it's like... It's one of those things that's gone full circle that's like, I'm glad that they did this.
Yeah.
Because I get so much entertainment out of how bad his stupid voice is through this entire movie.
Yeah.
That I can't help but love it.
Yeah. Alright, I'll give you that.
It's like Hoffman. You just gotta get Hoffman pilled. If to enjoy this series, you just gotta love Hoffman. You just have to, or you'll just hate half the movies.
Yeah, it's true.
You might still hate half of them even if you love Paul. But this is the pill you need to swallow to fully love Saw.
Yeah. It's Hoffman.
It's Hoffman. The Hoffman pill.
Yes.
It's like a Flintstones vitamin.
Yeah,
it's shaped like Hoffman and it's wet and lips.
No. Oh God, no. So I do enjoy, we get to see some pretty exciting stuff relating to Hoffman meeting Jigsaw.
This is, I think, the best sequence in the entire movie.
Okay.
So actually, I think first I want to go back a little tiny bit.
Yes.
There's a tiny scene with Jill going to a lawyer's office.
Jill, who of course is John Kramer's ex-wife.
Yep.
Jigsaw's ex-wife.
And she actually looks really good in this. I mean, she's always a beautiful woman, but like she's dressed in a very professional suit. Like she's going to a lawyer's for an official document reading. Like she's dressed up and she looks really nice. Where previously we've seen her in just like halter tops and like all this stuff. And she looks nice. She goes in. The guy's like, "Oh, I had this
video.
I had this video, and I didn't even know who my client was. Well, that was a surprise." So we'll watch this video. John isn't doing the Jigsaw voice, which is is a big deal for me because that means this entire time he's been doing a voice. That whenever, even when he's like with Amanda, he's doing the Jigsaw voice, and only when he's talking to his ex-wife that like knows all his bits or whatever, he just does it.
Yeah, he lets the real
He's like, "Hey, how's it going? You know, I'm sorry. I know we don't agree on everything," which is like what you say to an ex that like didn't want kids and you did.
Yeah,
not like
I murdered a bunch of people.
You didn't want me to murder Cecil. I murdered Cecil. We disagreed on things.
Yeah.
That's why our marriage fell apart. I understand that. And he's like, I allowed what happened at the clinic to go on, which is like him really kind of. It shows how deep he's gone into this. Like that was a good thing they were doing. They were doing good work there. And just because a bad thing happened doesn't mean good work wasn't happening there.
Yeah.
But that shows how far he's gone. Like no good can come from that place because this bad thing happened.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer gives her this creepy ass box, and she looks in it and is like, he's like, "What's in there?" And we're not gonna figure out what's up. I think we find out in 7.
I was so annoyed by that box that we didn't get any conclusion. So to me, in this movie, I understand your liking of the Jill sequences because of that. I felt like Jill was such a throwaway character in this movie. She doesn't do anything. We do get to see her for another moment where she's talking about like, I think Strom is stalking me, but for the most part, I just don't understand why she's in this movie at all, other than we need to have Jill. We need to kind of have all of the cast of characters.
Yeah, we are trying to wrap everything up. We are trying to bring all of these loose elements together, so that is one that we do need to bring in. I can certainly agree. It's one of those things where like I think there were elements in 3 where you were like, well, this is weird. And I'm like, yeah, but I know from the other 5 movies that backfilled this, so I can't really be like, well, this doesn't make sense. Well, you haven't seen 7 yet, you know? Not that 7 necessarily makes it great, but it
happens.
At least in this movie, it's laying groundwork for future stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not just like these cul-de-sacs, like what's in the box? What could it be? What's happening? But yeah, we go, that's just a short scene, and then we move into Hoffman. It all kind of, it's the stuff where Hoffman and with Hoffman and John is, I think, some of the best stuff in this movie, and maybe some of the best stuff in like anything in like some of these movies, like in some of the series. Like, I actually think they give Hoffman character in this one. He actually has moments where he shows human emotions and has thoughts and feelings on things. So there is just a quick shot or a quick scene where it shows his sister being killed.
Yeah.
And we actually see him reacting and like his like no Max Payne moment.
I actually
and,
thought that was really cheesy.
I mean, I'm not saying it's good, But
it
considering
exists.
Hoffman just goes through all the other movies, him showing any emotion is good. That's a good thing. Yeah, so he's going home for the night, and it's played like a horror movie. Like he is it's like he's the main character in a horror movie for really quick. Like there's all these like weird angles, and the music's creepy, and there's like rustling and weird sounds coming from the other side of the door. And he opens it, and it's this big lady with this crazy German Shepherd named Pee-wee. Go and she's like, "You're scaring him. You're riling him up. Come on, Pee-wee."
Christ! Come on, Pee-wee! Come on! Come on, Pee-wee!
Again, it's like throwaway, but it also sort of works for this movie.
Why did they do this? Such a weird decision.
It is a really weird decision. So this is when Hoffman then meets Jigsaw in an elevator.
Yeah. And Jigsaw is big sexy with the glasses. He's in a suit. He's got his glasses. This is the only time in the series that I can kind of see the John and Jill that were supposed to be like high society bigwigs in like 4.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about all these galas that they go to and all these events that they things, and like you never see John out of like a t-shirt and like a flannel or something like that, you know? So to see them both in like this kind of made up suits in the same movie, it's like I can kind of see that like power coupledness before he went super insane and she just decided to dress the same way.
Yeah, they just had a difference of opinions.
Look, you know, when a child is lost, you know, families don't always survive those kind of things, you know?
Yeah, it's very challenging.
And killing Cecil, you know.
Whatever.
Hoffman gets in the elevator. John's there. Like,
he's got like the big black gloves. I love it when we get the black gloves. This movie really features the black gloves a lot. It reminds me of the Giallo films. It's clearly a reference to that. So Jigsaw kind of has this very terrifying killer sort of feel, and he ends up, I guess, sedating Hoffman in some way.
Yeah, Hoffman's like, "What floor are you going to?" Yeah. And like he's suspicious for. I guess John maybe didn't push a button. Yeah. Which I guess that's just bad on John if he's trying. I mean, John's not the most subversive. You know, he's not a spy or anything. He's nothing. He's an industrial engineer.
He's intuitive.
He knows the human mind.
Yes, he does. So he ends up kidnapping Hoffman, and Hoffman wakes up with like a shotgun to his throat.
It's inventive saw trap.
No, it is not.
But thematically, I think it works.
Yes, I would agree. And the kind of intention of the scene is to talk about the idea that imitation is either the sincerest form of flattery or that it is very, very offensive. That's kind of what we're questioning here. So Jigsaw seems very pissed off that Hoffman ended up killing Seth in this imitation Jigsaw trap. Yeah. Jigsaw still thinks that he is instantly rehabilitating people, and he feels that Hoffman took it one step too far because it was based on revenge, not based upon rehabilitation.
Yes.
So he basically says to Hoffman, listen, you can either arrest me or you can help me. And that is how we get to Hoffman being our new Jigsaw.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's not... It's like Hoffman and Amanda both end up in the same position, but for incredibly different reasons.
Yes.
Like, with Amanda, it is a true believer, like a cult, like, I believe in this way. And with Hoffman, it's almost like a mutually assured destruction kind of thing. Like, look, you can help me keep working on this, or, you know, you could turn me in, but then I'm going to turn you in. Yep. And we'll both go down.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. And that's well played. And again, Jigsaw knows how the human mind works. And so because of that, he is able to manipulate situations like that.
Also, he tells Hoffman his blade was inferior, which is, I think, coming from John Kramer, is like the biggest diss he could ever give. Mm. It's like, well, your blade was inferior.
Yeah, if there's ever been a dick swinging contest, that's the one. You thought it was a pendulum? Nuh-uh. No.
That's just Jigsaw up there.
as this is also happening, so as we're getting to learn about the relationship between Hoffman and Jigsaw, we also get to see some more flashbacks as Strom goes into the basement where that barbed wire trap from Saw 1 is.
Yeah.
And we get a flashback to how the barbed wire trap kind of originated. So this guy is sitting and drinking in his car. He's cutting himself.
Well, so he drinks from the bottle, then he smashes the bottle on the dashboard, and then is going like, ugh, which maybe that's the way some people do it. But
in a car?
In a car?
None of it made any sense to me.
Well,
but
he's at night. Did you drive to the liquor store? How late did liquor stores are they open? Probably all night in Saw City.
It's
honestly.
it's a peculiar setup for a scene, but I do like that we get to go back to this and we get to see his abduction. So we get to see that Pig Mask is going to grab him. However, there's actually 2 pig masks, and this guy ends up getting overpowered. So we have both John Kramer here and Hoffman, which means that Hoffman has been participating since Saw 1.
Yeah, since before.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's been here the whole time.
The whole dang time. The whole time, we just thought that it was John Kramer and Amanda, but no, it was Hoffman
It's like,
too.
how did that little girl lift all those heavy guys up there?
She didn't.
Hoffman did.
Hoffman did it.
Big Hoffman guns.
Yeah.
There's one thing that really quickly on that. The guy goes to, he smashes the bottle, he goes to cut his wrist, and then they're like doing that thing where you like bounce the back of somebody's car to like mess with them, and he goes like, ugh, what the heck? It's almost like guy can't even off himself in peace anymore.
Yeah. Why can't I just sit here in the dark in this random parking lot and cut myself and drink some drinks? It is very silly. It is very silly. We also do get some more like fan service, or what I would call fan service. So this was definitely a fan service scene. But in addition to that, we also find out that John Kramer is asking Hoffman to help lead Detective Tapp to the doctor. So we get to learn that Hoffman really has been involved in all of these things. We get to watch Jigsaw setting up the traps, especially like the one, the gun trigger one that's in Saw 2. So I really enjoyed that. And this, again, is when Jigsaw is explaining specifically to Hoffman, if you are good at anticipating the human mind, then there is no such thing as chance. We can figure out what everybody is going to do, and we can set up these traps in such a way that we really truly can rehabilitate these people, as opposed to allowing them to die and us being the hands of the murderer, which is what you did with Seth, you dum-dum.
Yeah, they literally explained Larry's pen light 4 movies later.
Yeah, which is great.
Which is what I told you. I was like, they're just bringing all of these loose things and trying to wrap all of them up as much as possible, which I appreciate.
The other big flashback that we get, which is, I can't remember if it's the end of 3 or 4, maybe you remember, but it's John in like the hospital gurney in the I guess it's 3 and 4.
Well,
but you get to see it in 4. Because the 2 things
he's
time
dead in 3.
I don't even understand how.
It's the hospital. It is the hospital bed that he is in 3, because at the end of the sequence you hear the doctor lady getting wheeled in, and then it cuts to footage of 3 of her getting wheeled in.
And here he's kind of like, he's giving more to Hoffman than he is to Amanda. So again, this is another thing where we are figuring out that Hoffman is setting up the games. We're getting this sort of backfill, which I do think is done quite successfully if you're paying really close attention to all of the movies. Most people who went to go see Saw 5 just went into the movie theater having not seen Saw 4 in however long, if they even saw it. So, unless you saw all of these movies kind of like back to back to back, these are movies that you have to kind of rewatch all of them before you watch the next one in order to understand what's going on, because otherwise all of this is like, what?
Huh?
Who?
Yeah, literally there's a part where Strom, I did the whole thing. So Strom is going through the documents.
Yes.
There is a part where he pulls up a piece of paper that is a list of victims.
Yes.
And the people, or the the police officers that were assigned to them. And I wrote down the whole thing because I was just curious.
Yeah. What's interesting on it?
So the thing that's interesting is, there's a few things that are interesting. So first off, we find out that Cecil's last name is Fletcher.
Okay.
That's very important information to have.
The
other thing that is kind of important is that there is this character listed on here. They have this guy Fisk as a police officer on here. And I'm like, who the hell is this Fisk guy? I've watched these movies like 700 times. I don't know who the fuck Fisk is. And I Googled it. And when the police are like going to Seth's murder, there's the bald cop that's like, oh, that's the guy that killed your sister? I guess justice was served. And that's Fisk. Which means he's never really mentioned again, but that means Fisk innocent. That means every other homicide detective on this police department was fucking so dirty and shitty that Hoffman had to murder them. And Fisk is just such a saint that Hoffman was like, no, you're good, man.
I love that that's what you've read into them. I think it's perfect. I think that's absolutely perfect. I mean, again, I think we've agreed that there's not really a lot of good humans in Saw City.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
But basically, it's so who's on that list is basically, it starts with Cecil, which is like, how do they even know Cecil exists? But whatever. The fire goop guy from the first one. Seth. So that means... like Saw
timeline.
So timeline, Seth happened like before the first one,
which makes sense because Jigsaw knows about it and got pissed off about
then
it.
Then the Razor guy happened, so that makes sense. Then Amanda Young, so that's the first time Amanda. The guy Amanda cut the key out of. Then Adam and Larry, Zepp. The guys that tap and sing find like under the blanket and they put the blanket back up on him. And then it goes into the Saw 2 people.
Okay. Well, that at least helps us understand, again, the timeline a little bit more, because I do think that the timeline is confusing, and especially if you're not watching these movies back to back and kind of figuring out how they're working.
Yeah.
So that is actually pretty interesting.
No, there was a part because the guy they find strapped to that chair is named Jeff.
Yeah.
So my thinking was, oh, that must be Jeff.
Yeah.
But no, it's a different Jeff. Because I was like, because it had tap and sing assigned to working on that case, and I was like, they've been dead.
I don't know that I like that there's two Jeffs in Saw City. I believe that also on that list, I think that I read this, that actually some of the names that get listed are names of the cast and crew members, or some of the actors that are playing them. So
it wasn't on that list, but it's probably he goes through a lot of files, so I would bet
somewhere.
I would bet the ones in the background are cast and family members, and then this one was a hero shot that they were like, no, we need this to all be like legit.
Good to know.
Yeah. I'd never stopped to look at that, and I was, there's another part. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
There's another part where when Hoffman is becoming a hero, there is a news article.
Yeah.
We see Hoffman, and it's like, this hero cop who saved everything, Jigsaw dead! And then it says, then there's a picture of Billy. So Billy got in the newspaper, which I was very excited about. It names Billy, which means that, like, the media knows Billy. And then it calls Billy Jigsaw's surrogate, which I think I know what they mean, but I think we could also read very deep into that and keep going in another direction.
It's interesting.
See, Jill couldn't have a second Gideon, so he made a surrogate to have a second Gideon.
Yeah. I think you're onto something here. I mean, it's dumb, but I think you're onto something.
But then the article, I stopped, and it's actually about... It's about a Canadian company CEO that was shot and killed, and all of the different things are it seems to be an actual news report that they just kind of copied and pasted and put a little bit at the beginning of
assuming nobody else would read it.
Yeah.
They didn't know you.
They didn't know me. And I mean, it also took the 16th time I watched it to do that. There are a few things in that Hoffman and John stuff that I actually really love. Well, first off, he's like, hey, Tap's coming to get you, which again is fan service. Yeah. There's really he's smart and he's onto you and he's a high-paid actor. Yeah. The other thing is when Hoffman's in the chair, John goes... Killing is distasteful to me.
Oh no! So spooky.
I like the weight and then to me. And then he has this whole thing where he goes to Hoffman, your problem is that you're not a real killer.
Yeah.
I don't think that's Hoffman's problem at all.
Hoffman has a lot of problems.
Hoffman has a lot of problems, and not to be like this is 100% contradicted by Saw 7. Like, just 100% thrown out the door. No, this is a lie. John, you don't know the human mind. You are wrong.
Damn it all. We can't have this sort of thing in Sawniverse.
John can't be wrong.
No.
Everyone else can be wrong, but John can't be wrong.
John can't be wrong. John has to understand how the whole world works. He has to. He must. He must. So Strom, as we are continuing through the movie, finally figures out everything about Hoffman. He is like, Hoffman, for sure, is doing all the things. And after all of this, Hoffman tells Erickson about Strom's theory of the second jigsaw accomplice, because I guess Hoffman's kind of trying to get ahead of it.
Well, so Hoffman has Strom's phone. Which
I don't know how that happens.
Stole it from the hospital? I don't remember either. I'm sure it showed it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a quarter of a second shot somewhere. Like, that's more on me than the movie, I'm sure. But yeah, he has Strom's phone, and he's like calling Erickson from it, and like leaving like geotags and stuff like that. Like, it's very convoluted. And then he calls him, and he's like, oh yeah, I was working with Strom on this. He had this theory, he told me, that it was an inside job, which is like,
why would you bring that up?
That's him trying to lay the groundwork for, oh, it's Strom. But really, if I was Erickson, I would be like, I would probably start looking at Saw City detectives, right?
Yeah.
When there's really only you and Fisk's an angel, so it's got to be you.
Yeah, that's exactly. I thought that was such a weird little like Easter egg that we're like trying to lay the groundwork for this, but really it just makes you look more guilty. I don't know. And again, they're like trying to track the phone signal because he's stolen the Strom phone. The Strom phone. It's very convoluted. It doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, I guess I get it. One of the challenges that I had in this movie is that at some point we just have so many characters and there's so many people that I don't understand what's happening. And I find it to be confusing. I suppose that if you've watched this 16 times that it can probably make a little bit of sense. You can kind of get your way to it, but it's a challenge to require a viewer to be so knowledgeable that they can now understand the little scenes like this and the little sequences like this. Again, if you can't even remember how Hoffman ended up with the Strom phone, and you have seen this movie so many times and I consider you to be an absolute expert on this series, how is it possible that we expect anybody to understand what's going on with this?
Yeah, imagine somebody's date.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go see Saw 5. Yeah. Have you seen the other ones? No?
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
No.
No, you won't. You literally will not.
How do you get this time? Who
is this? Yeah.
Who are those two white guys? They look identical?
Yeah, they really do, goddammit. I don't even understand. During this sequence, we also get to revisit what is going on with Britt and Malik as they enter the last room in the sewer system.
And this is actually, this kind of reveal of what all is happening with them is part of why this is my favorite game, like central game in the entire series, because, spoilers for an Agatha Christie novel, they're doing, and there were none.
Yeah.
They're doing, and then there were, and then there were none. Where essentially, they figure out that essentially what happened was Britt, real estate lady, put everything in motion to give Malik drugs to burn down a building that had 8 people in it. They died.
The building needed to be destroyed in order for the city planner to create a new building, which the real estate agent was then going to sell. So this is
Charles covered it all up, which I'm kind of putting it together. It's like, okay, so it is kind of, and then there were none because spoilers and spoilers because and then there were none. They die in the order of their guilt.
Yes.
So the fire inspector, that's after the fact.
Yeah.
They didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
That's like whatever. The reporter could have uncovered it, but at the same time, it's after the fact, you know. Whatever. Then it's what's her name from the city planning? Oh well, you know, if she hadn't been there and she wasn't able to push these things through, that wouldn't have happened. Then we get down to Malik and Britt, who are the two that did it.
The most culpable.
The most culpable. They are the ones that should have the highest level of guilt.
Yes.
And that's what I'm kind of getting into with the Malik, how he starts high and kind of comes down and comes back up. He's actually the most moral of all the characters in this. When they kind of are putting it all together as they go through. And eventually what's her name, the city planner, she just goes, whatever, you know, it's no big deal. You know, this is this is the art of the deal, and anyone that tells you different's full of shit and naive. Yeah. He's like, that's bad. You're a mean girl. You're a bitch.
Yeah, and he has humanity here because he says, when I burnt down this building, I was paid to burn down this building in exchange for drugs. I didn't realize that there were people who were still in there. And if I had known that there were people still in there, I might not have done this. And so we do get to see that humanity that exists within the Malik character. Mm. And I do think you're right that probably ties to him coming off of drugs in these moments. He was addicted to drugs, and that's why he was willing to do it in the first place. But perhaps the morality would have stopped him had he realized that it would have resulted in 8 people's deaths.
Yeah, and there's this moment when they're talking, where him and Britt are talking to each other, where he goes, we both deserve to be here. Mm-hmm. And they both agree. And I don't think any of the people in any of the saw traps have ever gotten to that level. Yeah. Like, I mean, maybe after you've cut off your leg, maybe you're like, maybe I made some bad choices.
Yes.
But to be like, you know, they're pretty I mean, psychologically, they're fucked at this point, you know, years and years of therapy, but like, they haven't been stabbed or anything like that. They're pretty good, but they're already at the point of like, no, we deserve to be here. We are bad people.
Who created the central game?
Who created the central game? That's kind of a difficult question to answer. Like on my spreadsheet, there's a lot of Hoffman question mark on who made these.
I think this game is too clever for Hoffman.
I think that's fair. And there is a scene where it kind of ties into Saw 3, like right before Amanda wheeled in the doctor, where Hoffman's talking to John about like Amanda and getting emotional and being detached and everything like that. And John hands him some files. Hoffman goes out the little door that Strom went out of, which I thought was cute. Yeah. I don't know, he just went out the little back door. And then he opens the files and he looks, and it shows everyone that's in this central thing. In my notes, I kept calling them the contestants, which I didn't realize until later is like a really weird way to refer to them.
And now you're the next contestant on
Come
Saw.
on, Cecil! I ain't got no fucking soul!
I don't like it for him. I don't like it. Okay, so we are now in this last room. We are in the last room. We are there with Britt and we are there with Malik. And the game in this last room is that they need to put their hands into saws in order to drain themselves of blood. And conveniently, each person has about 10 pints of blood inside of them, and they can survive off of 5 pints of blood. So the two of them both need to sacrifice 5 pints of blood by cutting their hands open in order to get out of this particular saw trap. I would be so worried about spilling any of that blood. Like, there is no way all the blood goes into the beaker that needs to fill up. There's no way. So, like, this almost seems unsurvivable if you only have 2 people. Now, again, we know at this point that theoretically everybody could have made it to this situation. There are 5 holes.
That's the big reveal. They're like, wait, why are there 5 holes? And then they kind of put it all together. They're like, oh, shit.
We didn't need to sacrifice somebody. In addition to that, Britt also realizes that the keys from that first room were all matching keys. They were exactly the same. All of them could have used one key in order to disengage their neck braces.
And they all could have fit in the one thing, which, I mean, we already knew, but then they figured it out.
They finally figured it out. And then, of course, with the bathtub, they all could have put their one foot in the tub and taken that small little electrical charge and survived.
Yeah.
However,
And they all got
did not.
what 2 pints of blood on each
Yeah.
of them, and then
Yeah, they're totally fine. They're good to go.
there is an extra kind of element to it though, in that there's like this weird like switch thing on the other side of the blades that they need to prop up, otherwise it closes and the blood doesn't go down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I'm assuming to make it so you have to
Convoluted.
use your hand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just shove your foot in there. I don't know. So I always try to game these out. You know, are these livable? Are these survivable? Stuff like that. And this one clearly is, because you know, at least one of them survives. We later find out 2 of them survive. Spoilers. Saw 7 once again.
Whoop, whoop.
So I had an idea this watch through that I'd never had before. It's maybe not. Okay. So they had a few minutes with the bathtub room open.
Yeah.
They should have got her body.
Oh,
They should have got.
She's full of blood.
She's full of blood.
She's got so much blood.
She's got so much blood in her, bro.
Oh my god.
They should have got her out of there. Kind of
propped her up. Push, push, push. That's so smart.
They should have got her.
Oh my god, those dum-dums.
Fucking dum-dums.
That's so silly. I do enjoy, though, we get a really, probably the coolest shot of the entire movie for me is after they do stick their hands in here, they're working together, they're both going to sacrifice their 5 pints of blood.
For a little bit.
They do, it's very adorable, but we also get to see the split in half hand, and that's a really, really, really cool
Reminds me a lot
effect.
of the Thing.
Yes.
There's a shot in The Thing
Yes.
that's like almost exactly like that, which
Yeah.
is very cool.
I could not agree more. Now, meanwhile, while we're getting to see this amazing final room, we also get Strom finding a tape with not a Jigsaw voice, but rather a Hoffman voice.
Yeah.
And this leads into Erickson discovering the master room. So Erickson, again, has been kind of like exploring and trying to figure out.
Hoffman keeps coming back to this room.
Yes.
Which, there is one thing in that little room I did forget to mention. It's that there is a little baby diorama.
I loved it.
And when he goes in there, one of the contestants, one of the people is passed out. So he takes the little mannequin of them and he turns it over. That's so cute.
It's very cute. I liked that. I do like that we get to have always that kind of master room where everything is being plotted.
Yeah.
And again, I think that shows that this was too clever for Hoffman. I don't think that Hoffman could have done this on his own.
No,
I
I totally fit. There's actually like this old meme about Hoffman getting yelled at because running somebody over with your car is not a saw trap.
Yeah.
And I think that's
accurate.
accurate
Yeah,
as hell.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Now, what ends up happening here is that Strom is now in this room, and there is this glass box coffin, again with the glass, and Strom and Hoffman end up having a final battle royale sort of thing.
We see Strom in there, and he listens to I guess he only listens to half the tape.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got it. I figured it out. Fuck you. He turns off the tape and he kind of hides behind the door. Hoffman comes in and he's like, and they fight. Kaylee can't tell who's who. She's like,
no idea
who do I shoot?
Yeah.
Who do I shoot?
I literally had no idea. I paused the movie at this point and had to go back and figure out who the hell was happening and what the hell was happening. I was like, what? I don't know what is happening even in the slightest. And of course, the idea from the tape is that Strom should be getting into the glass coffin.
Hoffman.
I hate it. The idea is that Strom should be getting into the glass coffin, but instead he ends up pushing Hoffman into it.
Yeah, it's like if you get in this glass box, you'll be safe, but if you don't, like, this will be your tomb or something like that. I'm forgetting the exact thing. And then it does the Saw like recap of like connecting all the dots. But I like this one a lot because it's dumb Strom connecting all the dots in his head.
Yeah.
So I think it works really well because it's an idiot putting all of this stuff
together.
Putting the
pieces together.
It's like, you know all this stuff, dude. You looked through all the files already.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Erickson actually he gets through the maze of whatever the heck they're in, and he ends up finding Britt, who is near death. And so now Hoffman is
She said, I won.
I won. Hoffman is now getting lowered in this glass coffin, and Strom is getting blamed for everything. Erickson thinks that Strom is to blame for everything.
Put out an APB on an agent, whatever his first name is, Strom.
Yes. And now we get our trash compactor scene.
It's
Yay!
so great. And I gotta say, yeah, the walls start closing in, and Strom's like, I got this. And then like halfway through, he takes his coat off. Doesn't even take his coat off till halfway through. What a Chad. He's like, I like that he keeps fighting it till the very end. There's no part of him that's like, I'm gonna die here. Like, he's like, I got this. Let me just try this, and let me try this. Let me get up here. Let me kick this part up. And he does not get out. He gets smooshed to hell and back.
And of course, Hoffman is taken to safety in the tomb, in the coffin.
Which I think is a great final shot.
I do too.
It actually reminds me a lot of the Saw 2 final shot with the John Kramer and just that super zoom out, like just that like close it. That's kind of the door closing game over moment. He doesn't say
I wanted to say game over.
It should. Well, there's a tape playing. He could have literally said it on the tape, and that would have worked. We'll edit it. It'll be the intestine version.
Yeah. So this is the death of Strom, and Hoffman is presumably in safety. Britt presumably survives. Malik presumably survives. Everybody is...
Well, you can survive off 5 gallons of blood, and it's not like they would bleed at all after they were done.
Yeah, that would make no sense at all. That hand is doing great. It's doing wonderful. Now, the biggest problems that I have with the end, of course, are we don't get any new metal, and we don't get game over. And that is something that I expect out of a Saw movie. So I was disappointed in that. That being said, we still ended with that amazing hand cut in half. We also, when Strom is getting smushed, he gets his arm break, which looks really cool. That's a really awesome effect. Yeah. There's a lot of really cool visuals within this movie that I kind of struggled with.
And a little bit of a spoiler for 6.
Yes.
You get to see what's left of him.
Oh, baby. Things to look forward to.
A little bit of a teaser there.
Oh, yeah. So that brings us to the end of this movie, and I think that you and I are going to need to rate this one, as we have done in the past. Okay. So let me give us a quick reminder of what our ratings are. I will put those up on the screen right here. Okay, so I am so glad that we finally got back together to talk about Saw 5, and we will be talking about Saw 6 coming up soon. But before we go today, Cookie, I need you to tell me anything that you're excited about that you want to share with everybody.
So I want to plug Joel Edgerton's film The Gift. That's a really good one. And Meth Gator. I enjoyed Meth Gator. You should check out Meth Gator.
That sounds wacky. Does it have... Twinker Tweaker in it?
No Twinker in it. Twinker.
It's really stupid. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us to talk about Saw 5. We cannot wait to be back to talk about Saw 6. It will not be as long as the last time. And we will see y'all soon. Thanks. Bye.
Me.
Coffee.